are we all doing today? So I'm sitting here looking at my WLToys 10428 and wanting to change out some of his electronics. And I'm starting off with this, bam, the Savox SC0252 for my servo. And I'm just kind of putting the arms back in place so we can get that mounted up. And I have a Hobbywing 1080 ESC to replace the existing receiver and whatnot, and or I should say the ESC, not the receiver. And I'll be using the Dumbo RC receiver to communicate to this whole setup. All in all, I was pretty impressed with what I saw coming out of the 12428 that I upgraded, and wanted to give it a try in this and see what we get. I'll definitely report back once I get a little bit more, but right now this is getting ready to go in place. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. I wasn't even planning on really doing a video, but I had the camera sitting right here and started fiddling and thought, hell, why not? So this is supposed to be a replacement for the stock motor here, and it's pretty similar in size. It's not exact, but it's pretty darn close. It's a little bit longer, not much, but we'll take a look and see what we can do from there. So we're gonna try to put this in its place. Now it seems to set up the cable here, it should, maybe we just come up top. We'll do that. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, let's get those screws. Flip that over. Looks like that's pretty much close to lined up. It's funny, I know every time I show up to the hobby shop, I see people bringing in their vehicles, and there's a backlog to have them worked on. And for me, it's kind of a relaxing. I don't have to think too much, and luckily with things like YouTube and sharing, it gives us lots of help to make this an enjoyable portion of the hobby. Instead of forking out more money to let someone else do the work for you, you could do the work yourself and have some fun in the process. Now, this one has nuts that are it's on the other side, so you have to be a little bit careful. They have a tendency to push out, and that's what happened to the other one. But no big deal. We'll just move on. And okay, so then that nut did just do exactly what I thought it was going to do. Is it pushed out because it's not tight. Threading isn't getting tighter. So let me. This is where I wish I had a third hand, but I can use a tool, which should give me the. Okay. Let's see what we got there. do that again. One benefit to the 10-428 over the 12-428 are the screws. It's not using those really bad Phillips head screws. And we've got that in there. So we'll connect this, we'll take out the old ESC, we'll put in the new one, and right now the shifter has been disabled because the motor on that one burnt out and I was tired of messing around with it. So we'll get into this a little bit more and I'll be right back with you. Okay, if you haven't done this before as far as removing one of these boxes, they usually use like a foam double-sided tape. There we go. Got those to disconnect. You can usually kind of pry them up. I'm just going to use this. And they actually, this was designed around, this truck was designed around this ESC. As you can see, it was really cut out right here. When I bought this thing, I had problems with it right from the get-go. It wasn't tons of fun. There we go. See, it's a double-sided tape, sticky. Let me see. We'll warm that up in a second. And it actually came off relatively well, which is pretty amazing. Sometimes it doesn't come off that well. I've had it where I've had to pry it up and it's nice and goopy. But I like that it came off real easy. I'm not like scrubbing it to Kingdom Come to try to get it off. That's not too bad at all. So if you're going to put new tape down on that, I would strongly suggest using some alcohol or something else to make sure that you clean that completely off. You can use anything you want to put these back in. You can use double-sided tape. You can use Velcro. Hey, if you have... it's usually free at a lot of places. If you just contact your DMV, not your DMV, but your Easy Pass people, they have that heavy-sided, that double-sided plastic Velcro that does wonders. It's a higher profile, but it works really, really well, and it's super, super tough. And you can usually they'll give you a couple tabs for free. And let's see what we got next. So that is out, and we need to warm up that glue, and then we'll get on to it. I guess I didn't need to warm it up. I was able to pull it right out. That wasn't too bad at all. So this is fully operational. If anyone needs it, let me know. And the upcoming ESC. Let's grab that and see what we've got there. Now the ESC for this is that I'm going to use is a 1080. It is a crawler ESC, kind of not exclusively, but it's very popular in the crawler arena, and it's inexpensive. They're like $42, I think, and they come with a program card, which is this here. These usually cost about 20 bucks in themselves, so you don't have to hook up your ESC to a computer or anything silly like that. You can just go to town and hook that up and program it for your desired application. If you're crawling, if you're bashing, if you're whatever. The other benefit to this ESC is that it is 3S capable. So we've got the capability of all of that, which is awesome. Cannot. So we're going to show you the. Here we go. This is the receiver and ESC in one, and then here is the 1080 Hobby Wing ESC. We're looking like snakes or can of worms here, but gives you an idea. It's much smaller. I can put it on the back and it's, bam. So easy, easy. And we're going to put that somewhere in here like this, and then we will put the receiver in right next to it. We've got quite a bit of space, so let's see what we can do with that. Again, I wasn't completely prepared to do this video today, but why not? Why not? So I'm using the Dumbo RC transmitter, and I have a receiver. I went this route because they're inexpensive. That's the easiest way to put it. They're not going to break the bank. $15, bam. So I can put this probably. Let's look at the configuration. Will it fit right there? It looks. See, there's a little tab on this side. I'm assuming this was designed for another application when that fit into something, but it gets in the way a little bit. So if I turn it this way, bam, look at that. You'd almost think this was made for it. It fits right in there perfectly. And then that's for the battery. That's the battery there. That's that there. Look at that. That's going to fit right there beautifully. I'm actually kind of excited about this. I didn't expect for it to work out that easy. So we've got that ESC receiver out, and I'm using a Q-tip with a little bit of rubbing alcohol in here to clean the surface. You can see all the dirt on that. Ew, dirty. So if you're trying to use any kind of adhesive, that's gonna make it difficult to stick. I might need a little bit more on that. Go to the dollar store, pick up some cheap Q-tips and or cotton swabs, because Q-tips is a brand, right? And pick up some rubbing alcohol and just keep it near your shop space. That way you know you've got it. And if you need to clean your ears while you're in your shop, then you got that too. Okay, so that seems relatively fairly clean. And we can let it air dry, or I can grab a shop towel, which I have some shop towels over here. Okay. So now I cut off, I'm using Velcro just because that's what I have, and I've got a piece that I'm going to probably put right there. Let's dry fit this first. And this is going to go here like that, and that can go there like that. Okay, so we've got that. Velcro sticky, Velcro sticky. Let's check this out again. I cut this to size already, so this should fit in there pretty well. A lot of times I use what I have, and if you have a hobby shop near you, you can pick up Velcro, or any hobby shop. It doesn't have to be even an RC hobby shop. So those two are going to fit right in there. Wires are getting in the way. Let's get that out of there. That's going to fit right in there. Okay. So when things are sticky, I also try not to use my fingers on it. Sometimes I'll use a tool. Bam. That way I'm not getting my fingers all over the glue on the bottom of that, making it not sticky. Now when you're putting this stuff on, you can heat it up. Sometimes I'll use a heat gun, or if you don't have a heat gun, you can use a blow dryer to help warm up the glue. That will give it a better stick because it warms it up and the surfaces just get better. What I would strongly suggest, if you're not going to do that, or even if you do it, what you don't want to do is put something on and take it off, put it on and take it off, because you got to let that glue sit a little bit. If you can let it sit a day, great. If you're that impatient, it might come loose. You might get a little bit of moisture in there or whatever. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to put it right there. And this is going to go right next to it, right there. And power switch, which I can put pretty much anywhere. For now, we're just going to put it there. That's temporarily using electrical tape on both sides. Let's see that. Hook up these cables. Now, if the polarity is off, guess what? When you're doing a setup like this, it's not the end of the world, simply because you could swap them over. With this remote, also, with that Dumbo RC, there's a reverse right there, so I could swap it right there and not have to worry about it. Same thing with the steering. If you make a mistake, you can swap it there, but we go good. So now we've got the steering, which needs to go into the first port on that. And we're going to put the steering in there. Then the ESC goes into number 2. Like that. Okay. Let me grab a battery. And see what we've got. So now this came with the XT60 connector, so I had a bunch of Dean batteries and I didn't want to toss them out, so I bought some connectors. You could buy a set of like 4 of these connectors. They're simple, for like 10 bucks. That way you don't have to worry about swapping if you don't want to solder stuff together or anything like that. So we're going to turn on that first, then go here and turn on the vehicle. Let's get it up off the ground just in case it wants to run away. Okay, that's on. Let's see, we got a red light flashing. So we're gonna have to bind the two, which, that's right, haha, silly me. We need to bind the new receiver to the remote. So there's a little button here, which I think I need to shut that off, shut this off, push that button. Oops. This is where you need multiple hands sometimes. Push the button, turn on that, turn on this, and there we go. So now we should be okay. Well, I know what that is. It's the gear. It's out of, the transmission is not engaging because I took that out. Let's take this arm out, and there we go. Now that transmission is in gear, and we're gonna hold it there. And we got forward and back. Okay, and the steering arm is not hooked up, but we've got that. So next thing we need to do is just connect the servo arm, and it will be more or less ready to go. The only thing we're going to need after that is to button up some of these other connectors. Luckily, I don't have too much for wire management. It shouldn't be too difficult. That looks pretty good. I usually will use needle nose pliers, and that's pretty good. Get that. Just push, and we're on. And let's see what we got. Okay. Well, we got a nice. That servo's pretty responsive. I like it. That should work pretty well for us. The only thing I don't have right now is the servo, the gear shifter servo, but it hasn't been really successful. I have something I'm gonna try in it and see how that works, and we'll let you know. It's almost the same size as the 12428 steering servo, very similar in size. So the 12428 steering servo is, let me see. That's not, here it is. This is the stock. I did a video on this a while ago with servos. Here's the stock 12428 steering servo, and I had later upgraded it to the metal one. And the issue that I found right off the bat is, and you'll see this, the holes are different sizes. So if I take now, this is the servo for the steering. This is the steering servo. And if you see them side by side, they are really close in size. This one's a little bit longer, a little deeper, I should say, but everything else is the same, so they'll all fit right in there like that, which is pretty nice. Unfortunately, now I have all these 5-wire servos that are useless because we're getting away from this 5-wire setup just because it's not universal and it's much harder to find the parts for. Let's see what else. I'm not gonna bore you with buttoning up this, so I'll come back in a few and you'll see where we are. Okay, so we buttoned this thing back up. Got the battery back there with its strap. We got these tied in. We've got steering. And we got throttle. I believe right now, let's see. When it's in, I think that's the high gear. Yeah, in is definitely the high gear. And when that comes out, that's a low gear. Okay, so we're gonna have to figure out that other servo in a bit, but right now I'm gonna give this a little test drive and see how it goes. So here we are. We're gonna test this bad boy out. It's the slow control is really good. But who wants to go slow? People like to go fast. I think it's successful. What do you think? Oops. And away we go. So, there she is, folks. The 10428 with the hobby wing and the Spectrum servo with a Dumbo RC controller. That's what we got. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Have a good one.